All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I can only make one video today, so I'm going to try to bring in the biggest stories of the day, all right? So we're going to cover TTOO, NVOS, AVTX, TPST, and MTNB, all right? I'm going to start with the last two. Listen, to me, when something goes wild, and I mean wild is an understatement to say the least on those last two, right? But for me, I think it's more about watching those as an entertaining movie than it is like trying to make a move. And I'll be honest, they actually both did really well for the whole day, give or take. And that's a little bit of an anomaly. Whenever you see something like this, they normally don't do that, all right? So look, if you made money, you know I'm so happy for you, all right? But I think the big things I want to stress on those last two really are like, look, you can't change your strategies when you see some crazy stuff like that, all right? That's the first thing. TTOO, obviously, you know my thoughts here. This for me is essentially the last full day, right? So there was a really interesting comment. There's actually two really interesting comments that I'm going to bring up on this video. The first one was just, hey, if they're going to raise the date, isn't it kind of a fair assumption that it's going to be good news? It asked the question differently than I was used to. And you know what? It really made me think, all right? That's the first comment. The second one really is, hey, the earnings are actually at the end of the day. So does that change any of my thoughts? So I will answer both of those coming up. NVOS, unfortunately, did not do what it needed to do. It's actually one of the reasons why I didn't buy it in yesterday. So we'll talk about that. And then AVTX. I actually am in that stock as of today. Look, you know I rarely tell you guys what I do with my money. I don't want you to think, oh, this guy's in. That's probably going to mean it's going to be good. Like, trust me, I'm way wrong, way often. So that said, I liked today. I obviously wanted 17-cent close, you know that. But I think today showed some signs that got me a little hopeful for tomorrow, but end of the day, it's all about tomorrow. Today, I don't want to say it was insignificant, but like, yeah, it's not as significant as what tomorrow actually follows through with, all right? So before we go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines as well as the occasional diagonal trend line. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to this channel, share this video online with your friends, comment good or bad. Look, anything you can do helps me so much with these YouTube algorithms, but for real, just being here, giving me your time, I'm so grateful for it all right? So let's get into it. And look, TTOO, okay? I'm going to start with the second question that I brought up in the opening thoughts, okay? So the comment in the YouTube video yesterday was, hey, look, the earnings are actually after market closes tomorrow. So all of Thursday's technically a rumor day still, right? So the main reason why I was more focused on unloading today, and I sold not all of it. I actually thought I was going to sell all of it. I didn't. I held a little bit because, hey, I've made a decent profit. I thought, all right, why not? We'll at least, let some of the profit ride, but take out a good amount of it. You know what I mean? But for me, I think tomorrow is where we're going to start maybe get I'm afraid of mixed signals tomorrow. I think that's the easiest way of saying, because tomorrow I'm expecting to get a couple earnings previews. Tomorrow I'm expecting a couple analysts to give their guidance on what they think is going to happen. And I'm expecting tomorrow to start flooding with a few too many, and I might be wrong, right? Like, these are just my opinions, right? But I'm worried tomorrow sends a couple too many mixed signals, and then end of the day, we obviously get the truth, right? But I was ready to fulfill my trading plan, right? End of the day, I came into this single moment with a plan. I did it, right? I thought we were going to get over the 50 moving average. I thought we were going to get closer to the 200 moving average up here. I thought we would be in the 45-cent world. But hey, end of the day, I was at least able to ride a good amount of the pop from the earnings up. Couldn't quite get the follow through we wanted. Today was a nice little extra little boost, but hey, it is what what it is, right? So can't get mad at profit. That's a very, very simple thing to say, right? So look, one more time, I think this 32-cent line is the like big money line, right? We obviously saw a little peak of it here, but you know I care more about the closes than the wicks, right? But man, it's just this is at this point way too gambly for someone like me. All right. And you know, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your money. You know, I'm not telling you how to like gauge your own risks and rewards, right? You know, I'm not here to try to sway my thoughts to like overpower your thoughts, right? Like none of this. I'm just here giving my opinions. At the end of the day, we're just a little too close for a very uncomfortable trading situation based on really what's happened to me in my trading career, right? I've only been a relatively good trader for a couple of years. I had a lot of years of being a very, very bad trader, a very, very average trader, a very sub-average, you know what I mean? Like I've only been above average for like not that long, you know what I mean? And in my previous days of trading, I've been more burned than I have been successful playing earnings. And, you know, it's just one of those things where you don't need to trade every single moment. You don't need to trade every single stock. There are ways to win, and you can minimize your risk doing that, right? That's really one of the main things I like emphasizing. I actually really do, right? So TTOO, look, I am more than ready to trade this next week if things look good. Hey, I might even be down to trade it on Friday. Truth be told, I think since the earnings are going to be Thursday after hours, I think Friday might be the market reaction day, and then Monday is the confirmation and follow through. That's a little bit of what I'm anticipating in all honesty. But Friday, I might jump in if really things look, you know, strong. And when I say that, I actually really mean on like my better stack, right? Like when I move my money, I'm looking at these two right there, right? Again, MACD's close to zero, RSI still at a healthy number. We've actually had great volume, especially since this day right here, right? So not breaking the 50 moving average great, but at least more people are buying than they are selling, right? Still a lot more selling behind that. So it's not like we've really like erased all of these last, 2 weeks, right? Didn't quite happen, but hey, this is a little more promising here. But yeah, good earnings is gonna smash the 50, take us to the 200. Bad earnings, we're gonna lose the 100 and go down. I don't think that there's I don't think that there's anything else that's gonna happen. All right, so do I know what's gonna happen? I don't. Do I genuinely believe a lot of the people's anticipation of good? I don't necessarily know if I believe, but there was a question that came up, and look, I don't know the answer. I almost chat GPT'd the question if you really want to know the truth. I kind of regret not doing that and having it here, but the question essentially was like, is there a correlation between moving earnings up and good news coming from it? All right, and I don't know that answer. You know, I don't. I think, and I don't know the other way answer. I think there's an assumption in my head that if you moved your earnings back, it's because bad things. You know, that also might not be the case. Maybe they moved it back because they're waiting for a deal to close that they can't disclose and they'd love to do it, so they're actually moving it back for good news, right? Like, there's always two sides of the coin, and I really don't have like statistical info, but it's a beautiful question, and I'll be honest, I'm gonna put this TTO moment in the back of my pocket. This one's moving it up. Let's see if it's good. Let's see if the market reaction is good as well, and go from there, right? And the last thing I'm going to end with is just because TTOO drops good earnings, I'm going to just make a quick, bold assumption that the earnings are good enough for all of us to like, okay? That doesn't mean the market's going to react positively. I've seen so many stocks drop such good earnings, such good guidance, and for whatever reason, the market reacts bad because of one little sentence or one little headline or something. Like if 95% of the earnings is good, but like earnings per share is missed or like some single thing is bad, dude, it can like wipe away all the good and the market reacts poorly. So for me, all I'm really looking for is how the moving averages are going to react. And for me, it's either you're going to break the 200 and fly, or you're going to lose the 100 and die. I can't imagine there's anything in between. So let me know your thoughts and opinions. Otherwise, yeah, this one's an interesting 50-50. I've locked most of my money. I have a little bit on the table just in case anything happens, but it's so small that like if I lose 40% on that, it'll be okay. It'll suck. No one wants to lose 40%, but I'm ready for that to happen, right? So let's go to NVOS. NVOS, look, yesterday I talked about how this candle very much surprised me. All right, this is a doji candle in my book. Again, a doji is nothing more than the name of a shape of a candle. All right, for me, the doji is an uncertainty moment, and the day after generally is rather bold. All right, and you see it. This one was a rather big. I assumed it was going to be a rather big down, and I actually thought we were going to close down here in that 27 realm. Instead, we go up. However, it wasn't enough for me to buy. That's basically what I said in the last video. And today really showed it. All right. Simple thing. Okay. Number one, if we're going to break two lines, the 20 was right there, the 8 was right there. I'm expecting us to get up here. And there was a bit of a fake out moment. I don't know what else to call it. Like it hit 40 cents. That I could have seen some people getting faked out, but man, it's just it's one of those things where like if you can come into the hourly, you'll see that it wasn't crazy high, but yeah, just couldn't confirm. I think this is what it was. Yeah, it couldn't confirm it. Right. I remember coming into this thing and looking at it, but yeah, end of the day, I know it's a big double-digit day. For me, it's, again, what I anticipated, right? I thought we would either come down here. End of the day, I think it goes back with this my expectation of coming down. I think this was just a little anomaly. Look, again, I might be wrong, right? But yeah, I think this was a fake out, and it's hard for me to get my thoughts together on this one, all right? It smelled funny. I know that's like the stupidest thing to say, and like I don't have a lot behind it, but like this day just didn't feel right. And I'm not sure if it's because of my better indicators. I don't remember if one of those gave me something a little bit more that just, again, more indicators is sometimes a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing, right? But yeah, there wasn't enough juice in yesterday's big day for me to jump in, and I'm obviously glad of it today, right? Where are we at now? Look, we are still over the 20 moving average. We are still over this 32-cent resistance, now kind of support line. I think my general concern is yeah, it's weird. Like I can't get the reasonings out of my head. Like, and again, I'm not sure if it's because the reasonings are for things that aren't on this chart, but yeah, it felt wrong. It still looks wrong. Look, if this happens to get back over the 8 moving average tomorrow, it's gonna make things really interesting going into Monday. That said, I mean, I'm gonna need because yeah, even if tomorrow goes back over here, I always kind of go into the assumption that Friday's a loser day, right? And I don't know if I'm using that a little bit to kind of like stray away from the fact that we'll get a 2-day confirmation today. Yeah, this one, like I said, and I've kind of said this one on a couple of, like NVOS has been a little bit slippery, right? It really has. This was a nice little run, was able to bank a bit. Unfortunately, it dropped harder than I was expecting, and like it just goes back to the slipperiness of it. But I think I need something a little bit more convincing, all right? I still see the 8 kind of going up and the 20 going up. Maybe you can argue the 20's kind of starting to go down a little bit, but yeah, it's weird. The MACD's positive, the RSI is not bad. Even volume, relatively speaking, hasn't been horrible. It's dropped pretty hard the last 3 days. But yeah, just NVOS doesn't feel like the same NVOS. And again, I know that's such a vague thing to say, but yeah, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you're feeling the same way, or like if you can say the words a little better than I am. But is what it is, man. It happens sometimes. We'll come to the weekly just to look at the weekly. And look, again, this isn't a horrible weekly by any means, but like, it's just, I don't even know how to say it. It's more frustrating that it's not doing it. And something just smells odd. I can't put my finger on it. I'm telling you, I don't know how else to say it. Let me know if you have better thoughts here than me. Sorry if I actually really didn't provide much. AVTX. AVTX, the story here, and if you've been watching my last couple videos, I've been saying the exact same thing. This stock does not know how to do 2 good days in a row, okay? You get 1 green candle, 1 red. 1 green candle, 1 red. And specifically, I'm talking about the ones that are over this 50 moving average red line. Over red, over red, over red, over red, over red, over red. We're back over one more time, okay? Today piqued my interest a little bit. I will be honest with you. Knock on wood, I did not buy at 18. Oh, damn, it even hit 19. I don't think I saw a 19 hit. Maybe it was like an 18.9 and it's just rounding up on this thing. I know I saw it in the 18s. I liked the volume a lot. We've had a couple days that have been over the 50 moving average, but today was substantially more than the last few days. Today kind of started to go up a little more than horizontal, and today was an interesting candle after the doji. This one was too, right? It clearly was, but this one, because again, that's it's not a textbook doji, don't get me wrong. That's probably more of a doji than this one maybe, but for me, that's enough to call it a doji for a trader like me. All right, this is a doji. That's a big day after, but that's a day that had 3 moving averages like stuck in the middle of it. That's a doji, and that's not really a great candle behind it. And again, a bunch of moving averages. This is a nice candle. This is a nice one that has no moving averages in it. This is a nice candle that's actually over the 8 and the 20. Look, we've seen the stock do 1 good day multiple times. Every other day it's doing 1 good day, right? This stock is all about tomorrow. Tomorrow either goes and it gives us reason to believe that Friday will as well, or this thing comes back down to 14. I'll be really disappointed if this thing comes back to 14. Like, I really, really will. But this seems promising. This seems a little more promising than it did in the last couple of videos that I've made. I don't know if I'm just getting too early and I'm getting fooled out myself, right? Like, there are 3 lines here. I talk about, like, it's like a tornado. You go to the top, you go to the bottom, you back to the top. Like, for no reason at all, this thing can like make wildly drastic up and down moves when you have a bunch of lines like this. But MACD is knocking on the line of being positive. RSI starting to creep up a little bit. It wasn't that long ago that it's been in the high 80s. And again, I liked today's volume. We actually got most of the volume relatively early in the day. You can see the day starts right here, and there was a lot of volume in the morning. Like, I saw us crush the volume number really, really early. You know what I mean? So, and when I say the volume number, I mean that 50 line right there. But this stock has been nothing more than 2 things. Get me away from the 50 moving average. It seems like we're trying to do that today. And it's been about 2 good days in a row. You know, I always talk about confirmation, regardless what the ticker is. This one is especially important. Like, this stock does not know how to do 2 good days in a row. I don't know if I'm gambling a little harder than I need to be, but it smells like tomorrow might be the day we get the second green candle. I think I'm putting a lot of it on the volume, actually. So you'll know if I'm wrong tomorrow, right? But I don't care about the after hours noise. You know that. I kind of see it looks like it's going down just a little bit. Yeah, I really don't care about any of that. All right. So let's see what this thing does in the regular hours. This stock is one of the biggest volume this is becoming a volume king out of nowhere. All right, and it's an important thing to remember. Like, volume is king, and if you are starting to wear the crown day after day after day after day, like, it's hard to ignore. All right, so let's see what this does. Like, let's see if this thing can do the back-to-back tomorrow. You know, I'm not here to pump this thing. You know, I'm not here to fanboy it, but look, this is a decent weekly. This really, really is. Gets over the 8, can't confirm. That doesn't really do much. This is a candle over the 8. This is a good confirmation candle. This is kind of making me think, hey, next week might do some good stuff too. So AVTX, again, I'm liking what I'm seeing. It's interesting to see a lot of the YouTube comments, a lot of the Twitter comments. Like, there are people that are actually like believers of the stock. And I don't know, I generally have no idea what the stock does that I have my money in, but I love getting the fundamental reasons why you guys are in this stock. Like, I love hearing it. I actually really do. And yeah, let me know more about this stock if you don't mind, please. But like I said, I think the technicals are starting to turn a bit. And I will be honest with you, I like what I see on the 1 and the 2. There's a couple other indicators that I use, and I like the way those are looking, on top of the fact that, like I said, there were a lot of moving averages in these couple candles. This one doesn't have a single one. This one's actually starting to go above them, and so hopefully that's the trend that continues here. All right, so I'll look at the week. Oh yeah, we already looked at the weekly. Yeah, I think that's it for AVTX. Let me know if you have any other thoughts. Otherwise, let's go into the bigger one. So, okay. This is an incredible number. I don't think I have ever seen a percentage this big on a single day. I don't think I've ever seen one where it actually, like, theoretically could have been written the whole day. This thing actually opens at 213 and closes all the way up here. Like, this is as strong as a candle gets, and I'm telling you, this is as big as a gain that I think I've ever seen. All right, couple things. This stock was well below the 8 and the 20. Okay, there are okay. There are trading rules that, I'm not here to tell you need to trade like me, right? There are rules I live and die by. And when something like this happens, it's less about wondering if my rules are good and more about grabbing some popcorn and enjoying the best movie you can watch. You know what I mean? Like, dude, this thing was crazy. If you go into like the 15-minute, like, this thing just goes, it drops, it goes, it drops. Like, it actually wasn't the easiest of days, but you can see it literally never loses the 8 moving average on the 15. On the 1 minute, look, there were moments where, like, it looked like it was ready to just lose them all and go, but again, it just you hear me say it whenever I see these dashes. That's a shady thing, dude. These were halts. This stock was halted for such a long time. Like, this was a wild ride. And look, I say it, I love it when people make money. All right, like, I made nothing on this. If you did, oh my gosh, like, you're gonna have a great dinner tonight, to say the least, right? But for me, yeah, this isn't something that's gonna like change the way. And damn, it's actually still going up. Let me go to post market. Oh, it's not. It came down a little bit. Wait, no, it is up. We're at 9, almost 10, instead of 977. Damn, it is actually still going up a little bit. That said, look, there's a couple easy things I can at least draw and say are possibilities. All right, we really might drop to right here. Okay, and I'm saying that as I'm seeing it continue to go up after, okay, now it's starting to drop a little bit, but there is actually a very real chance that this thing drops to 370. Okay, between 370 and up here, there's not a lot, okay? Bottom of that. And really, that is actually the horizontal that I would normally draw my lines on, right? So if this was going to continue, there's a shot that this thing can go to 1450. If this thing was to fall, there's a real shot that it'll come to 370. What's this? I think this is a maybe, and look, this is a really insignificant little moment in a whole mess of green. So, like, I don't even know how strong this is. I think if it was to come down here, there's a good shot it'll continue and drop down there. But to me, oops, too much. These are the lines. This thing either comes down to $5.40, if not literally $3.70. Otherwise, those are the two next lines up. Okay, yo, if this thing breaks 1450, damn, like that's essentially the next line at 19. All right. um RSI is obviously at a ridiculous 97. I mean, this is pump and dump volume at the greatest, right? Like, do you sincerely believe that this is going to hold 160 million shares tomorrow? Or do you think it's probably going to drop down to like half of it, right? And it's one of the, the crazy thing would be is if this thing only comes down to like $7. Coming down to 7 will be a pretty big drop, actually. Okay, it's about a 20% drop. That said, only coming to 7-ish is a relatively strong holding of most of the candles. And if this thing came down to 7, I would start watching this to maybe kind of jump in myself, right? But yeah, I didn't do anything today, man. It was a big discussion on the Discord. Give me a second. I'm gonna come to this one because I already know. What are the letters? I don't even know what the letters are. TPST. I mean, literally the entire day was TPST. You know what? So like there were a lot of people talking about it. I know a good amount of them were trading it. I'm at least gonna call out my boy right here. Like, he crushed it today, right? And it was on this stock, hit a little bit of top. Like, I'm telling you, like, I'm not here telling you not to trade these things, right? But yeah, it's just, for me, this isn't one of those where I'm going to adjust my strategy, and I'm just here enjoying the ride. You know what I mean? But again, you at least have a couple numbers up and down, for my opinion. All right. So the next one I'm going to look at is MTNB. All right. The first thing I want to say, all right, I normally don't brag. All right. I called it out on both Discord groups. This is the easiest one to see. Oh, did it just fall? No, right here. Okay. One more second. It was on the 6th. Come on. Where was it? Damn. Where was it? Give me a second. Right here. MTNB on October 6th. It popped up on one of my scanners, and I said it was going to be an interesting week. Right here, I'm pretty sure MTNB. Is that the letters? Yeah. Same day, on the 6th, popped up on my scanner. All right. Like, this thing came up, and I think it was on this day. Yeah, it came up, all right? It was all about breaking the 50, couldn't quite do it here. Happens after hours, and it jumps, and then again, just basically breaks the 100, goes to the 200, breaks the 200, and goes, right? So, it's funny, because again, I'm starting this one by kind of saying, hey, this one was findable, right? My moral is, if you had eyes on it a couple days earlier, that's different than trying to trade this. And again, I'm personally a little surprised that this thing opens at 27 and goes all the way up to 64. Like, normally these open at 64 and come all the way down to 20 something, right? So the fact that it was actually a good, interesting candle, I mean, it's interesting, right? And yeah, once that broke, it was close enough to the 200. Yeah, really, once the 200 broke, that was a nice little place to jump in and maybe ride a 40 cent to 60 cent move on its own, right? But I mean, look, this one seems a little interesting comparatively to the last one, because look, there's not a lot of history. We're literally pushing all-time highs after not that long, right? Like, we can see that this thing hasn't even been, oh, it's actually been a number of years. It looks like a small chart, but yeah, there's not a lot of history, and there's really a lot going on at that $1 line right there. You can see we're just kind of oscillating down, up, like we're just pretty much moving on that dollar, and this thing's knocking on the door, and this one could be an interesting one. This one, actually, I don't know if this one's going to continue or not. I think the lines are pretty simple here. Either we come back down to 40 cents, that same number I just called out, maybe, no. Yeah, 40 cents. I think 40 cents is the low end. I don't see it being anything besides 40 on the low end. Damn, 106. Yeah, those are our numbers. So look, 75 and 106. I think those are essentially the next two lines up. 110, we'll use 110. Why not? Again, we're not here for perfect. We're here for good enough. Again, I'm it popped up on my scanner. I out of the blue talked about it on that one. Out of the blue talked about it on this one, right? I keep losing it. Damn, why do you keep scrolling, bro? Whatever. Either way, if you can find them early, that's a lot different than riding the day. And more than anything, man, I'm a little surprised that this thing went up and down. But we've got the lines up, we've got the lines down. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Otherwise, as always, I appreciate you so much.